John Fitzpatrick was the third Bishop of Boston, and he was the first native Bostonian to be the bishop. He was born in the city. He was a student at the Boston Latin School before he went on to his seminary studies, and that really connected him to the local elites, even though Fitzpatrick's parents were Irish immigrants and had been born in Ireland. Fitzpatrick was a real Bostonian in connecting with the established orders in Boston. And that proved very useful when he became the bishop in 1846. Which, of course, is just at the time that the massive Irish immigration is beginning. So Fitzpatrick is kind of the ideal person to be the Bishop of Boston at the time. He only serves for 20 years. I say only because bishops of Boston tended to have much longer tenures than that. But Fitzpatrick's time in office, 1846 to 66, was really a critical time in the history of the city in allowing the established city to accept all of these newcomers coming in huge numbers. John Williams, who succeeds Fitzpatrick at the very end of the Civil War, serves as the Archbishop for 41 years, longer than anyone before him or since. He's the Archbishop from 1866 to 1907. And of course, in that period, after taking a brief hiatus during the years of the Civil War itself, immigration begins and becomes even more of a flood, as people said at the time. And so Williams is faced with the problem of building up the church to provide for the basic needs of the immigrant community. I think during Williams's tenure, if you average it out, he opens a new parish in the Archdiocese of Boston every single year. That's a measure of the pressure, the demand that Irish immigration was putting on the church and its services. And so he's concerned not only to open new parish churches to provide the basic religious services for the immigrant community, baptisms and marriages and so on. He's also concerned with their this-worldly needs as well. And so it's in his tenure throughout the end of the 19th century that he's opening schools, he's opening hospitals, he's opening orphanages, all, as I say, to meet the physical and this world needs of the immigrant community as well as their spiritual needs. And many of these institutions that he opened are still going today, hospitals and successor agencies to orphanages and so on. Bishop Fitzpatrick bought the land for the cathedral during the Civil War. The original Cathedral of the Holy Cross was located right in downtown. It had been designed by Charles Bulfinch. It's too bad, especially in Boston, that that original Cathedral of the Holy Cross is no more. But it was torn down in 1860. And if it hadn't been torn down, it would have burned down in the Great Fire of 1872. So I think we were probably destined not to have the original Bulfinch Cathedral. Fitzpatrick bought the land for the cathedral on Washington Street in the South End. But by the time the cathedral was finished, in 1875, the city had already turned away towards other neighborhoods. The South End was not the center of things that, say, the Back Bay became. And so as a result of that, the cathedral in Boston was always a little off the beaten path for the city, and therefore never really had the same role in Boston that, say, the cathedral in New York, St. Patrick's, did, right on Fifth Avenue, where everybody could see it and go by it all the time. The cathedral in Boston was more associated with the neighborhood, which remained an immigrant neighborhood well into the 20th century, and so perhaps that's more important.